Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Phil. Welcome to Phil's Computer Lab. Today we're looking at another Socket 7 processor from Cyrix. We checked out the 6X86 a while ago and it struggled a little bit against the Intel, but now we're dealing with something more powerful. Launched in April of 1998 for the Socket 7 platform. It runs externally at 66 MHz, has a 3.5x multiplier, which gives us an external frequency of 233 MHz. Now that might sound familiar, that is exactly the same configuration as the Pentium MMX 233. The cache has been upgraded, we've got now 64 kilobytes of level 1 cache. The core voltage is 2.9 volts, however, there are later low power versions that only need 2.2. However, looking on eBay, the vast majority of processors do run at 2.9. Back in the day, this processor was aimed to be a budget processor. The launch price was only $180 US. The Cyrix M2300 is not that cheap if you're looking at buying one second hand. I just had a look on eBay and the going rate seems to be between 25 and 30 Australian dollars shipped, which translates to around 22 US, 21 euros and 18 pounds. Remember, these are prices from eBay Australia, so chances are that you find something else in your region. And now we're gonna dive straight into some games. We've got a few DOS games running at 640 by 480 and we're gonna see how the Cyrix M2 handles itself against the processors from Intel and the previous Cyrix 6X86.
Enemy sighted, Colonel.
Break and attack.
Going in.
Welcome back to Citadel Station. We hope your somnolent healing stage went well. Today is the 6th day of November, year 2072. You are currently in the healing suites located on the first level. Level 2 contains the research laboratories. 3 houses the Department of Maintenance, and the storage cells are on level 4. The flight deck is on level 5. Level 6 holds crew facilities and executive suites, and level 7 is system station. Level 8 houses the Department of Security. The bridge is located on level 9, and energy systems on level 5. All levels can be accessed at
That looked pretty promising. Let's dive straight into some proper benchmarks, get some nice figures to be able to compare to the previous Cyrix, the 6X86, but also the Intel Pentium and the MMX. We start off with some benchmarks at 320 by 200. The test setup is the same that we used previously, based around an Asus SP97 XV motherboard, 32 megabytes of SD RAM, 8 ET6000 PCI graphics card. We've got a 16 gigabyte SD card, which I'm using in an SD to IDE adapter, an IDE DVD drive, the Gotek floppy emulator, and we're running MS-DOS 7.1. Looking at 3DBench 1.0C, we can see the Cyrix does really well in this benchmark. For whatever reason, 3DBench runs really well on the Cyrix. In Chris's 3DBench, the Cyrix M2 is quite a bit faster than the previous 6X86L, and we can see it's even in front of the MMX 233, so that's a really fantastic achievement. The same goes for the PC Player benchmark. The Cyrix M2 300 is also ahead of the MMX 233. In Wolfenstein 3D, all the results are bunched together, but still the M2 300 takes the lead. Same goes for Doom, faster than the MMX 233 and all the other processors. Let's have a look at Quake. Now, Quake was the weakness of the Cyrix because of the slow floating point unit. And compared to the 6X86L, we can see that definitely there's a lot of improvement, but it's not enough. It is still behind the regular Pentium as well as the MMX 233. So we can see at 320 by 200, the Cyrix M2 is faster than the Intel across all the benchmarks. The only exception was Quake. Let's have a look at 640 by 480. We're starting with Duke Nukem 3D, and once again, the Cyrix M2 300 is in front, beating the MMX 233 by a small margin. Decent 2 doesn't run as quick on the M2, however, it is still able to tie with the Pentium 200, which is pretty good, and compared to the 6X86, it is quite a leap forward. And Wing Commander 4, this is the ultimate stress test. We're getting 9 frames per second inside the hangar. If you're playing older games like Wing Commander or Test Drive 3, these machines are all too fast. So what you can do is go into the BIOS and turn the level 1 and level 2 caches off, and you have yourself a 386. Just like the 6X86, the M2 is very fast with the caches disabled. We're getting a 15.1 result in 3DBench 1.0. And looking at Wolfenstein 3D, 29.3. So out of these processors, the M2 is the fastest CPU, clock for clock, when you disable all the caches. Looking at the Wing Commander test, the Cyrix M2 unfortunately is a little bit too fast. When the game is busy and there are lots of enemies on the screen, especially larger ships, then the speed is fine. But once you're down to the last enemy, it is too fast, and with the joystick you're having a real hard time catching that last enemy. So let's go over the results. Performance is really impressive. It manages to beat the MMX 233 in most benchmarks. So this is a great little processor for anyone looking to building a retro machine that doesn't use an Intel processor like most builds out there. So if you want to have a machine that is different and unique, check out the M2. It's a really fast CPU. At 320 by 200, all the games run well. I doubt you're gonna find a game that this machine does not run maxed out and perfectly smooth. At 640 by 480, however, it still depends a little bit on what game you're running. Need for Speed, for example, or Wing Commander 3, those games will run perfectly. Tomb Raider and System Shock, however, they do run fairly well, but I'm still not gonna call that 100% smooth. And we had a look at Screamer 2, a new introduction to the benchmark process. That game is very demanding. We need something faster to play this game well. So back in the day, this was a real bargain processor, but today it's actually not that cheap. Similar pricing compared to the MMX 233. I think gold recovery is a bit of an issue. For whatever reason, when I search for this processor, I always find eBay descriptions with the word gold recovery in there. So maybe this is a chip that has more gold than others. I'm not 100% sure. Also a note regarding heat and power consumption. The 2.9 volt models are known to produce a lot of heat, and they are certainly not very good at overclocking. There are 2.2 volt models out there, but they seem to be very hard to find. I wasn't able to secure any of those. And that's it for this video. Hit the like or the dislike button, share the video, leave me a comment down below, and do subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Next week, we will look at a very interesting processor. This is the ultimate CPU for the Socket 7. With a frontside bus of 66 MHz, just like all the other chips in the last few videos, this CPU will be the fastest CPU that you can buy. Let's find out how it compares against the Cyrix and the Intel processors, and see if it can finally run these 640 by 480 DOS games perfectly. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.